We have been authorized by NASA, the Junior Illuminati, the Nevada Gaming Commission, and 9 out of 10 dentists to evaluate every song Weird Al Yankovic has ever recorded and place them all into the objectively definitive tier lists.
The definitively definitive tier list.
It is definitely objective and objectively definitive.
We're doing science. We wrote down our findings.
And also, we have a scientist on staff that will be running the results by who will give it the thumbs up afterwards to confirm that we are obeying all laws of science.
Who are you people again?
I'm Dan, and I love Weird Al. Maybe not in that way. I mean, I've been listening to Weird Al since I was a wee lad. I mean, I'm coming very close to my 40th birthday, and I can't think of a time where I don't remember Weird Al because I had older brothers who listened to Weird Al on Dr. Demento. And yeah, I've just been listening to him ever since.
And I'm not a buttface. You might know me from around the places. I also came to Weird Al later in life, considering the fact that I was born after Ricky's first exposure to Weird Al. But yeah, Weird Al for me was, I came from a bit of a no fun household, and Weird Al was opening my eyes to, oh, you can just make things that are weird and cool.
Buttface, would you say that he dared you to be stupid?
It was less of a dare and more of just an open invitation.
He was given permission to be stupid.
Okay.
What was your first album that you can remember hearing, Buttface?
I'm from a post-album era where it's mostly just singles all jumbled together anytime on tap. The first full album I will sit down and listen to was probably Straight Outta Linwood.
Oh my God, he's so young.
I'm so young.
I mean, the funny thing is, I don't remember owning my own copies of Weird Al albums because my brothers had them also. Of course, that's what the kid brother does. He just steals older brother's records and CDs. I don't think I actually owned my own personal copy of a Weird Al album until Bad Hair Day.
We had Alapalooza, Bad Hair Day, Polka Party, Off the Deep End, and then I had his Greatest Hits Volume 2 compilation. Just enough to fit in the 5-disc changer. Just a quick reminder, on Al Yankovic's official YouTube channel, he has all of these songs available to listen for free if you want to listen along as we go with our own comments and gradings as we do the Weird Al tier list. Please feel free to do so. I want to share a bit of trivia about this album before we get started. This is actually the first Weird Al album to come out in my lifetime.
That is true. You know, that reminds me that we have a little bit of Hastily-Made history before we get down to listening. And that is true that this is Weird Al's first studio album, although he had released an EP beforehand of Another One Rides the Bus, which has 4 songs that are in fact on this album. The funny thing about this album, there was only a couple songs actually recorded specifically to put on this album. Otherwise, it's a collection of, it took 4 years for Weird Al to put on a whole album, which in nowadays sounds crazy, but we've got some personnel on this album that we need to talk about, which going to be a little bonkers. Number 1 was Rick Derringer. That's right, Mr. Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo himself, playing some guitars and producing the album. Now, you guys know that Weird Al has been touring and playing with Steve J and John Bermuda Schwartz for many years, both in his touring band and his albums, and they got their start with Al on this album and some other songs before that. Richard Bennett playing banjos and guitars. He's a touring guitarist. William K. Anderson on sax. Joel Miller on bongos. Mike Kiefer on percussion. Dorothy Remsen, I think that's how you pronounce it, on harp. I didn't know there was any harp on this album. We're going to have to listen for some harp.
We're going to see if we can identify the harp, yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to try to pick out the harp. Dawn Smithy, Zadie Cole, and Joan Manners as backing vocals. And last but not least, Ted Jensen, who is the master engineer. Now, dumb fact, I was 3 weeks old when this album came out. Ricky, I think you were probably a year.
This album came out in 1983. I came out in 1982.
Now, how do you guys think the critics reacted to this album?
Positively, but skeptically.
Yes.
Like the predominant opinion was like, this is like a good gimmick album, but this guy's a fad, and that's it.
We'll talk more about this later, but I have a feeling that if they could have been right if Weird Al had not followed this up with Weird Al in 3D.
I would agree with that statement. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are sparks of genius on here and other things.
But last and not least, we want to bring up the album art because this is a really interesting piece of artwork. I mean, Ricky, you really wanted to talk about this.
I can't keep it all in my head at once. It's just impossible to focus. It's like a Where's Waldo.
No, every song is represented in this album art. And then there's the rest of the album art.
Yes. I was trying to do some research on the guy who drew this. He's a Brazilian artist named Rogério. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Brazilians. Please forgive me. But I could not find any. Turns out there's a lot of artists from Brazil named Rogério.
It feels very like Mad Magazine inspired.
And that was one thing. I saw some tweets and things where Al was saying that very thing, that they liked his Mad Magazine.
You know what I love about this artwork? Is I've had the pleasure of seeing Weird Al in concert a few times. Mm-hmm. So in the artwork, you got him sitting on his bed playing his accordion, fantasizing about exactly what his modern show looks like. It's him on stage with his accordion and the audience in the front is going crazy for him. Like, you got there, man.
Yeah, after, like I said, it took 4 years from Al being on Dr. Demento for the first time for this album to come out, and it was a wild and crazy ride.
Well, let's get to it. Let's just get to the first song, right?
I'm going to hit the button.
Oh, Ricky, you're so fine. You play your bongos all the time. Hey, Ricky. Hey, Ricky.
Oh, Lucy, you're so fine. How I love to hear you whine. Hey, Lucy.
We found the harp!
There it is. There's the harp. As far as an opening number goes, they definitely led off with a strong foot. You know, listening to Mickey and listening to this, it is very much an Al-tinged parody. The musicmanship is good. It's like, they got the bongos, they got the harp, so very good cover, a little bit of that I Love Lucy theme. I mean, some pretty good Lucy jokes. Tress MacNeille, Mom from Futurama, Gadget from Chip and Dale as Lucy. This is back in her Groundlings days. On the other hand, if Weird Al was doing the song today, I don't think he would do it quite like this. I don't think he would do a bad Desi Arnaz impression when he sings the song.
I got a hard disagree here. I think this is the possibly worst song you could pick to open the album with.
Really?
Like this does not set you up for the expectations of the rest of the album. You're getting a guy who's doing a weird impression on the first song. That is not at all what Weird Al sounds like for most of the things. I think you get accordion coming through, but it's not particularly exceptional accordion playing. The solo's not even an accordion solo. I think this is a low C tier song that I would absolutely skip anytime it comes on rotation. No offense, Ricky.
We did note at the outset of this that the three of us each have a Weird Al song named for us.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this is mine. You know what bugs me about this song? 1983. I Love Lucy references are already pretty dated at that point. Like, when I hear this song, I just get this picture of Al announcing, like, my new album's coming out in 2023, and one of the songs is about the puffy shirt episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with Buttface that, like, most albums have, like, an anchor parody, right?
This is not it.
This is not it, but it is the first track on the album, and half of the singing isn't even Al.
This is not great for my standings.
When I think about these songs, I'm thinking of them both from as I'm listening to them today, but also like at the time. And I mean, people, 83, I mean, people still loved Lucy.
I just don't think that this is by any way a strong showing for what Weird Al will become or even what he was at the time. Like, this does not highlight his talents particularly well.
And yet people loved this song.
Pablo Escobar loved it, apparently.
He did.
I think I would have to join Buttface in a low C for Ricky.
Yeah, I would also. My love of Tress MacNeille makes me want to put this into a B. I would put it borderline B minus C plus.
Well, look at it this way: it's currently the highest rated song on the tier list.
It's the highest rated song of all his songs that we've covered. got a boogie. I got a boogie. Got a boogie on my finger and I can't shake it off.
Oh, God.
This song is about a booger.
Yep.
D-.
Okay, I hate the lyrics of this song. Has there ever been a funny or any interesting songs written about snot or boogers?
I don't want to search my memory to find out.
What Al has done here is he has taken the word boogie, which colloquially means kind of to dance aimlessly or without direction, and has transposed it with the word boogie, you see?
That's so... It is extremely juvenile, but on the other hand, I actually really like the disco beat. I like the bongos.
So yeah, that was my exact note is I think this is a really strong second song highlighting how you can sneak accordion into places that shouldn't work. Unfortunately, the lyrics.
Yeah. If they release this as an instrumental, I would put it as a solid B, but those lyrics...
Here's the other problem. This is 2 songs in a row now where Al's doing a
shtick.
weird voice that is not his singing voice. Like, he'll revisit that register later, and it works in other contexts. I just don't know if it works here.
I like D tier for Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure.
Yep.
Baby, I love Rocky Road, so won't you go and buy half a gallon, baby? I love Rocky Road, so have another triple scope with me. Ow!
This is the best song on this goddamn album. I'm staking my claim right now. S tier for the following reasons. First, this is the first food themed song that Weird Al has ever done. And no, well, and I guess that's not true. My Bologna is food themed. So I'm already proving myself wrong.
Also, it comes after Gotta Boogie on the album, so...
That is not food. Lois, boogers are not a food. But still, the other thing, first, I mean, fart percussion. I'm pretty sure this is the first one we've gotten fart percussion on.
Yeah, we're going to have a frank
that's
discussion.
my first note is why the hand fart percussion? I hate it.
We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. This is not a perfect song copy, but one thing I really like about the sound, it's not quite the same as my Blown. It's a little differently, and also another one rides the bus, but they managed to mix the guitar and the accordion together in such a way that it makes the accordion sound really like crunchy, and I really dig it.
Good.
That's like Weird Al's definitive accordion sound, is like a crunchy sounding accordion. You know, say what you will about the rest on this album, but this song is really what defines Weird Al's sound for like the next 7 or 8 years. A lot of the further work that you hear on later albums, you can trace the style and the sound and everything back to this song.
Pretty much the rest of the 1980s, basically.
Yeah, this is where Weird Al became Weird Al, and that's why I stake my claim as S tier.
Well, okay, so you're kind of like our Al historian. Maybe you can answer a question for me.
Sure.
Why are the Chipmunks here?
Yeah.
Again, that's a thing that the Chipmunk thing, it was really hard to change pitch at the time, so it was still novel for people to do it.
For me, I just think that it's a really strong concept for a song that is really excellently produced, and it's just a really weird decision for the hand farts.
I love the hand farts.
Every time I want to skip this song, I'm sorry, I draw the line.
Despise the fart as instrumentation
Yeah.
that 1980s Weird Al has, because it's in a lot of songs, and it's not just 80s. Like,
Headline News is full of it.
I don't get it. But that said, I love this song. Like,
Yeah.
I love singing it. It's fun. This is a high C for me, Dan. I'm sorry. Like,
Oh,
like it's
how
gonna
can this
be
be a C?
So my notes is B minus minus minus.
Wow.
I would skip this song normally, but this is the first time we hear Weird Al as Weird Al is going to be known for the rest of time.
The lyrics are so good.
They really are. The accordion solo, it kind of sounds like it comes from another dimension. It doesn't sound like it was...
I feel like they had a little bit of a phaser or something going on it.
There's electric accordion distortion somewhere, but I really like that you take a really like hard rock song and you stick an accordion on it and the accordion still sounds good. I am of the belief that any rock song can be improved with an organ, and what is an accordion if not a portable organ?
You're not wrong.
Also, Al's first excellent music video.
Yes,
I love
it's a
this
great video.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, this can't be a C. I
Well,
mean,
you said S and he said B, so that's going to drag it up from. It's going to end up in the B.
Yeah, I said
think.
B minus minus minus. I can't, in good conscience, put this as a C song, but this is a song I will regularly skip if it comes up.
You know what? I will change my grading to a B because I'm putting it in a C in comparison to the modern version of the song, which I like a lot
yes,
more, which we'll talk
that is a
about.
better version of this song.
I think we can concede a B.
Gonna tell you a story about Chuck and Diane. Couple British kids from the palace at Buckingham. Chucky wants to grow up.
It is time to mock the royals. It's my right as a Canadian to mock the royals. Like, it's one of my top 3 favorite things to do. This song is great. This is the first just out and out good song on the album I like listening to.
Wow.
This is a proto first world problems and TMZ through the lens of making fun of the British royals. Plus, it is Al in his exaggerated blues rock mode, which is one of my favorite modes of his, CCNR.
They really do a good job with the blues sound on this. I mean, having guys like Derringer on board, they know what they're doing. It makes absolute sense. I really wondered what it would have been like if we had gotten the actual, Jack and Diane parody. Would it have been better? I don't know.
The only thing I need to check with is this in bad taste now?
I'm going to say no, because I really enjoy consuming dated media. If you were going to write a song about Charles now, obviously you wouldn't write this. And you wouldn't write this at any point after Diana died, or even this song was written before their divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Al had kind of taken this one out after A, the divorce, and B, Prince. I don't know if he ever played it live. I recall reading some things.
He's a classy guy. I think after the divorce and he probably stopped playing it live, just kind of quietly retired the track. It only exists as part of his legendarium for the sake of completion. I do love the song though.
It's still a great song though.
What grade are you giving this buttface?
For me, I have it listed as like a B++. This is top tier B.
I think
for
a
me.
B is a B for Buckingham, right?
Yeah, I think B for Buckingham really nails it.
We don't like it better than Rocky Road though, do we?
No. Rocky Road is a better song. I know you guys hate the farts, but
Ooh, well, Dan's a no. I think buttface is a yes. Does that make me the tiebreaker?
No, B. Rocky Road is B minus
Oh.
minus minus. This is B++.
I'm sorry, Dan.
oh my God. Oh my God. Breaking my heart.
Happy birthday to you. Well, it's time to celebrate your birthday. It happens every year. We'll eat a lot of broccoli and drink a lot of beer. You should be good and happy that there's someone you can eat. 1 million people every day are starving in the street.
We talked a little bit about how there are moments of flashes of genius on this album, indicative of what we will hear later. I think the first flash of genius on this album happens in this song, and it is, come on, boys and girls, sing along.
Yes, it is very much a Al gimmick that he will do again in the future and that we all love.
Could not agree more.
This is a great song.
There are no notes on this song.
No notes. Wow.
I mean, I have notes, but who is Tony OK? I'm sorry, I just don't get this. I don't get this as a style parody. I have no idea who this is. Apparently, he's an influence on Weird Al, according to the Weird Al wiki for this song.
So I didn't do any listening on Tony OK in preparation for this. He's a punk artist, apparently.
It's great. I'm glad that this was influential, because this is a fantastic song. We have a master spreadsheet for all of this, and I'm trying to find reoccurring themes. One, this is the first listicle, as I'm calling them, that Weird Al has written. I do love the listicles.
You can make an argument that Weird Al invented the listicle.
And also, this is another thing he really likes doing is tonal juxtaposition, where you take a really serious song and make goofy lyrics over it, or you take a really goofy sounding song and put some heavy lyrics under
There's
there.
poison in the sky. Buttface, I think you've talked this up to an A for me.
Originally, in my notes, I gave this a B.
Mm-hmm.
And if Buttface gets it an A, then I am okay with it going in the A column. but my personal score is a B.
I think that this is like the deep cut gold that the true Weird Al fans can sit back and appreciate, but it might be a little out there for the general listening audience. I'm fine with
that's
the B.
absolutely true. I think this is the highest B we've placed so far.
Yeah, this is absolute B+. I would give it a B+.
Sure.
What a bummer, I was so brought down. I had to chase that tow truck all over town, yelling, stop dragging my car around.
Why is my man making payments on a 64 Plymouth in 1983?
He went to a buy here, pay here place, I guess.
I think this is the strongest parody on the album.
Ooh.
Too hot.
Well, it's not a bad parody. I think it would be better because this song originally was a duet. This is the song that should have been the duet on the album. Al is he opens up with a kind of Stevie Nicks that you can tell he's trying to get a little bit of Stevie into his voice, but can't quite do it. And he's not even trying Tom Petty.
It just doesn't congeal into anything. This is a bad cover, guys. You understand what it is trying to be covering?
This is why this job needs to be done by committee, because what I value in a parody is I like a clever parody with good wordplay that's inherently funny. A parody like Ricky or Rocky Road, those are just too obvious. They're funny in their way, but stop dragging my car around is a hilarious, just an inherently funny phrase.
For me, this is the opposite of what was it? It was Boogie, because this is a great lyrics and just fails on every step of the execution because it's tied so closely to being a song parody, and Al just doesn't nail it in my opinion. Dan apparently is hearing something completely different from me.
No, I mean, just because I say there's some interesting things going on in the song musically, I mean, there's pros and cons to perfectly ripping off the sound, which Al does do in the future, not in this album, because he's still, I think he thinks he still needs to have his sound to it.
Because this is the novelty album.
Yeah.
Dan, you and I have actually discussed this before, of if you're going to do a cover of a song, you should make it original and your own. You should be trying to do something unique with it. And this is trying to not be that. It is trying to style echo the original, and it is failing. I am knocking a lot of points off.
I mean,
for
I
that.
think there is some subjectivity here. And when it comes to me in covers, I want to hear, I mean, there's some times where I'm like, okay, this person is really nailing the vibe of the song. What is the vibe of the song? Another time with a cover is that it needs to bring something out in a song that I haven't thought about before. I think if Al did this today, absolutely, he would make it try to sound more like the original.
This is the one song I want on the album a remaster of.
Yeah, me too. I had placed this song as an A, but then I dragged it back to a B because of the farts. I'm not down with the farts, Al. I'm sorry.
If you're not down with the farts, that really hurts this song. And
So it sounds like this is not landing in B for Buttface, though.
I've got this as a D.
wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, sorry. This is the stinker of the album.
This is the stinker?
Mm-hmm.
My gut ranking on this was that it was a B- C+.
Okay, well, that's going to average out to about a C. I like it more than Ricky.
Trust McNeil gives me a lot of points, but I have to agree that lyrically it is better. It is more clever than Ricky.
Never gonna stop, eat it up. Such a tasty snack, I always eat too much and throw up. But I'll soon be back. My Bologna.
That's where it all started, folks. I'm pretty sure we can all say here amongst the three of us that this is not the favorite Weird Al song of all of us, but I mean, this is what started it all. I mean, the historic significance of the song cannot be understated. Now, is it to the same level of production as the other songs? No. I mean, man, it's just, you can understand why Weird Al became just as big as he was on the back of this song alone. Just the manic energy, the high tempo, the accordion just going to town. And also a lot of really good words about bologna.
This is iconic Al.
Yeah.
And it has an appropriate burp sound effect.
The burp is appropriate in a song where half the lyrics are about him throwing up.
It is a very jarring burp, which I suppose is intentional.
I have never, ever in my life heard anybody pronounce Bologna as Bologna except Weird Al Yankovic.
I've heard Bologna.
I'm about to make you guys real sad then, because this song for me is a B for Bologna.
No, I'm good with that.
The song itself is a B, but personally, I put it in A tier for historical significance.
Okay, well, it's a strong B.
I went into this knowing that you guys would not put it into A tier.
This also paves the way to the better rock production on I Love Rocky Road. But like taking a hard rock song and putting it as just this is like pure accordion, it still really works.
It works.
Like, there's a hell of a accordion solo on this.
High B for Bologna, then, I guess.
This is the Bologna you get when you go to the deli counter and you ask for, the genuine stuff. We're not talking the Oscar Mayer.
Say the check's in the mail. Hey! You're beautiful, don't ever change. You know what I mean. My girl will call your girl. We'll talk, we'll do lunch, or leave a message on my machine. So, baby.
I am a sucker for a banjo spoon solo. Oh, this is the song of the album for me. This is the one that stole my heart and lives there rent-free for the rest of time. This is relatable comedy. I love a good show tune. And I mean, it is like, it's a parody of Office and bureaucracy hell. And this song is so good, guys.
I wrote, in general, not for all of his albums, but certainly for this one, I feel like Al's originals, and I'm including the style parodies in his originals, are smarter and more creative than the parodies. A version of this song in pretty much that state would be right at home on any of his albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an A for me.
Yeah, this is A.
Okay. See, I wasn't going to put it in A tier.
Why not?
Well,
say something bad about this song. I dare you.
I mean, I do like me some banjos. I mean, I'm trying to think of objectively.
I'll have lunch with your machine, Dan. I'll have lunch with your machine.
Especially if that machine is an automat, you can absolutely have lunch with that machine. I mean, I can understand. I'm putting myself like contemporarily, like if you're listening to this album in 1983, if you have no idea of what Weird Al is going to do in the future with his original music, this is the kind of song that will set off your, this is a novelty act sort of vibes, even though there are some really smart lyrics in it. There's good banjo playing and there's spoons, and it really sort of gets that bluegrassy feel.
Dan, are you like, listen to the song? Can you hear the jazz hands at the end?
Yes.
I'm hearing jazz hands at the end.
I totally did little jazz hands.
That's true. It is. There are little jazz hands at the, I was going to give it like a B plus. I mean, I can buy it in A tier. I'm trying to, like, I can't separate what I'm feeling about like the song at the time versus the actual lyrical quality of the song, which is admittedly extremely, and it's better than other material on the album.
Well, if we've got 3 A's, I'm not going to give Dan a chance to talk himself out of it.
Yeah, no, A, done. I'm fine with that.
Look out! Another one rides the bus. Another one rides the bus. And another comes on, and another comes on. Another one rides the bus. Hey, he's gonna sit by you. Another one rides the bus.
Oh boy. This song, as we all know, this is the original 1980 recording done in Dr. Demento's quote unquote studio. It's lo-fi as hell. And I know that we have a nice brand new recorded one that is lo-fi, but not, that came out in Weird. But man, it's just Weird Al did this in a studio with one microphone. That whole bit from Iron Man, Tony Stark in a cave with
a bunch of scraps.
It's just the lyrics and the way that he sings. Like, this is one take live, like on the air. Okay. Just the pressure that he was under, just crucible that formed this brilliant piece of lyrical parody.
and you know, for something of this monumental effort, you definitely needed to put delay reverb on a fart noise.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. No, this song is a skip for me every time. I do not want to listen to this. It sounds like it's recorded in a bathroom. It's a great lyrical parody. It's a great send up of Queen, but I can't get on with this song, guys. I'm sorry.
There's a reason I do not put the live performances of songs I love in my iPod playlist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he had a blast recording this in Demento's studio with his 3 guys, like banging on the case or whatever they were doing, but they should have got some studio time, recorded it professionally for the
I mean,
album.
like, even Al's voice, it's not his best. You can hear all of the vocal fries and the sloppy singing, and it's this song deserved more than what it got.
You know what this song needs? Like a bunch of zany instruments just coming in out of nowhere, held by B-tier celebrities. This is an A song with a C- recording.
I put it in A tier because I have an appreciation for good lo-fi. I've had a lot of people saying, Dan likes lo-fi, the guy who complains about audio quality.
I have seen Al perform this live, and it's a fantastic live song.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like a guy like Weird Al, he can break the rules because he is that freaking good.
He can't break the rules this much, though. He still needs to record in a studio.
Beyond the actual musical ability of the song, as someone who commutes on public transit daily, this is 100% accurate. I feel this song in my chest. But I cannot personally give this higher than a D rank. But I'm okay putting this where we need to for the sake of the group.
I'm giving it the A for the historical significance and the fact that the song is just so good that it overpowers the lo-fi-ness. But I went into that knowing that it was not going to end up in A tier.
So that sounds like it's going to average out like a high C then.
Yeah.
Okay. I will live with that begrudgingly.
I may as well be hyper as long as I'm still around, 'cause I'll have lots of time to be laid back when I'm 6 feet underground. I'll be mellow when I'm dead. I'll be mellow when I'm dead. I'll be mellow.
Yeah, man, let's all headbang to accordion. That's what I wanted to do today. This is like what I think of a Weird Al original parody song sounds like. Even though apparently it's a style parody.
I can see, okay, you've got the essence of Ramones in here, but this is before. If Al were to do this today, I think he would commit a little more to the bit.
I would rather call this an original song that is sending up surf rock, and I would like to argue the best accordion riff on the album. It's a really strong opener.
Nice ukulele, too. I do wish at some point in this song he had explained when he plans on being mellow.
Later on in his career, when he becomes a vegan or vegetarian.
This is an A-tier song for me that I pulled back to B because it's just really repetitive.
Well, the Ramones are also very repetitive.
That's true, but I don't know who the Ramones are, and I don't recognize this as a style parody.
The chorus is very repetitive. The actual verse lyrics are great. Like, they're all great.
Love the verses, yes.
But it is, I think, the longest song on the album, and it drags a bit. But I put this as high B.
My initial gut reaction was, where's the Ramones, question mark. The repetitiveness really kind of dragged it down for me. I mean, my gut reaction when I wrote it down is a C.
Like, I do understand, as a style parody of the Ramones, it deserves to be in C tier, probably low.
Do you guys think I'm going to get angry comments when people hear that I don't know who the Ramones are?
I didn't admit to that fact.
And I'm so cute I can hardly stand it. And I'm so handsome, honey, I could just die. I know you'll never be as wonderful as me, but at least you can try. 'Cause I'm such a groovy guy.
Okay, so I have some notes about this song. My first note is that Al is parodying a person, not a song. My next note is, what if Elvis was Leisure Suit Larry?
I'm sorry, I've already forgot what song we were talking about. I have no notes. This goes in one ear and out the other.
I mean, I like the sax solo. I made a note that I was like, oh yeah, there's some saxophone there.
The lyrics don't focus on anything. One minute this guy is a conceited jerk. The next minute he's talking about chocolate pudding and electrodes. Like, I can't get a beat on how groovy this guy is.
I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead and Such a Groovy Guy are a very interesting pair back to back. One is a style parody of a band, and the other one is, like Dan said, it's basically an original song harping on just one guy.
And also the kind of guy who is, quote, such a groovy guy in 1980, like that's a guy from 1975. 1983, we were getting different brands of jerks.
Yeah, nobody was that groovy in the like early mid 80s anymore.
I mean, we still had the lingering malaise of the 70s, but
this is what, 2 years after Steve Martin? Like, no, this is 4 years after The Jerk, and this is still not even recognizable.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is not great.
I had this as a low C, but I think I agree. It's pretty forgettable.
I had this in the D tier.
I'm fine with D tier.
It's got to be better than Gotta Boogie, though, for sure.
Yes, it is better. I mean, well, you know what? Say what you will about Gotta Boogie. The lyrics may suck, but the song actually is groovy. This song, there's nothing groovy about it, man.
I can remember Gotta Boogie. Again, this song, it's like, I forget it's on this album.
I visit Mr. Frump in the hospital. I see him most every day. And when I see Mr. Frump in his iron lung, this is what I hear him say.
I like lots of forms of comedy. Silly, irreverent humor, like Weird Al's wheelhouse. But I love pitch black comedy. And this song is in the overlap between where Weird Al plays with black comedy. The first time I heard this song, I physically hurt myself laughing. It's so funny.
This is how you end an album.
You're absolutely right. This is how you end an album. It's also like, this is the slowest tempo song on the album too. After hearing Happy Birthday and I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead, just him just going balls to the wall, just going on that accordion. And it was like this year, it's quiet. There's more openness and reverb to the sound.
Oh, it's haunting reverb.
Yeah. Especially when they cut to the accordion valves, which are cosplaying as the iron lung.
I'm so glad, because I was going to point out, like, I'm pretty sure the way they did that, because I was trying to listen, like, how would they make that sound effect? I was like, no, wait, it's the air release on an accordion.
Yep.
So I have to be in Weird Al's head at this time going like, my accordion air release sounds like an iron lung. I'm going to write a song about this. Is the most bonkers out there thing in the world. I have a deep fear of my own mortality, and the lyrics of this song, Mr. Frump solos are suffocating.
Is that what we're calling them, solos?
Yeah.
Mr. Frump solos, yeah.
Is Weird Al the only musician to have accordion valve solos on his album?
There are some weird avant-garde accordion players, man, I could link you to. You do not want to go down that rabbit hole.
I love a really strong one-joke song. So Mr. Frump is an easy A from me. Easy A.
This song did not need to be any longer. It could not work any shorter. It gets in, it's get out. It does exactly what it needs to do.
I mean, we all disagreed on how well the album started. So I think this is it's a good closing act. It gives you time to think about what you just listened to, makes you realize that Weird Al sure sang a lot about death and a little bit of nihilism that goes through the veins of this album.
Is this song above the Checks in the Mail in the A tier? Or is it behind it?
I like what this song is doing as a joke. I think it's fantastic. I don't think it's as strong of a song.
The only reason I'm not calling this an S tier song, because this is legitimately one of my favorite Al originals ever recorded. But it is a one joke song, and I don't think in good conscience I can call a one joke song S tier. A tier, we can put a bunch of one joke songs there, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think this can comfortably survive an A tier.
For my money, I want this behind Checks in the Mail just as a song.
You didn't do
but
Jazz
this
Hands
is-
for Mr. Frump.
No, but you know that I had heart over hand for Amen.
Yes, yeah. And you know what? It's a song about friendship. So
It really is.
So, Buttface, I mean, we know that Ricky has already ranked the albums in the way that he would like to rank them, but, we haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. So, in our rankings, not just of songs, but of albums, where do you think this fits in with your canon of Weird Al albums?
This is a C tier album for me. Unfortunately, there's too many skips, personally. There are too many songs in here that I would be perfectly fine not listening to. But again, as I'd stated right at the front, there are nuggets of gold. If you reach way, way back into the beginning of Weird Al, you can pull out some real gem. But I don't think that's enough to raise it above like a C tier.
I mean, I can understand, like, if you're in 1983 listening to this, absolutely, you could say, oh, this guy's done some good stuff, but can he really do it again? And it turns out, spoiler alert, yes, he did it again and again and again and again.
well, I'm going to disagree with that a little bit. He didn't do this again and again. He did something
Well,
later, but this is a novelty album all the way through.
yeah,
This is the only album he's released that has accordion in every single song.
yes, he dialed that back. I think it's a case where this is the blueprint. This is the roadmap. We see where Al is going to go from here. And you can totally understand that people saw this, and it is a novelty album, and people were right to be skeptical. It would have been a very risky bet to take, to say, and that's why it took Weird Al so long to get like a record contract, because people were skeptical. The highs in this album I think are pretty high, but the lows are very,
It's
a
hard
lot
to go
of
lower
one-
than Gotta Boogie.
I
Yeah.
can think of a worse Weird Al album, but I think that this is a perfectly serviceable first outing.
I want to give it the B minus for the historical significance of what's going on, but there's just so much that just drags it down into C plus. I feel like at the end of the day, I mean, and considering his entire canon, all of Weird Al's albums and stuff he's done over time, he's gone to such greater heights that this, unfortunately, I think has to be in C tier.
That does bring us to the end of Weird Al Yankovic 1983, but we committed to ranking every song the man has ever recorded, and he's recorded a bunch of songs that he never put on an album. What are we calling these, Dan? Potpourri?
We are calling them potpourri.
So instead of just putting them all together at the end of this series, which would kind of give the impression that they're all on the same album, which they're definitely not. Well, we're just gonna do one right now. We're gonna do one of these potpourri songs at the end of each album's tier lists.
Well, it's a Pac-Man. Yeah, it's a Pac-Man. Well, it takes a lot of cash to play. Pac-Man, get the cherry.
I'm glad that finally got out of C and D jail.
I have opinions.
You know what this song reminds me of? You remember watching like police procedurals in like the late 90s or early aughties, and like for some reason someone would be playing a video game in the background and they showed like Call of Duty footage, but like they played Tetris music and sound
Yep.
effects over. That's what this song is. This is a
Yeah.
D minus.
Honestly, several things going on here. Number one, I actually don't think it's a very good Beatles lo-fi sound, but it's an uncanny valley. This is where it's unlike Stop Dragging My Car Around, where it's different enough where it's not setting off certain alarm, but this is like it's there, but it's off by just enough that I mean, a lot of the distortion is just really hard to listen to. The lyrics they're not great. Also, whenever I hear him go Pac-Man, I think Batman.
Buttface, do you really like this song?
No, I'm saying that there's a reason that this would have not made the cut if it weren't for the C and D. I don't have a affinity for this song. I think it's serviceable. I think it is a C tier.
I'm at the Pac-Man. That sentence just hurts. I'm sorry.
I don't think I would ever willingly listen to this song again. I would put this in F tier.
Oh, well, I can't go that low.
I mean, if it ends up in D, it ends up in D. But me personally, I will never listen to the song again.
For me, it's, oh, I get the joke.
No, that's not even I get the joke. This is Al, you don't get the joke. You don't understand the subject matter well enough to tell a joke about Pac-Man.
Brick, you're talking yourself into an F tier.
Listen, he didn't record it on any albums, so...
Sometimes with deleted scenes, there's a reason the deleted scenes are deleted. And this is a case where Weird Al was not going to fight the fight for the song because I think he knows in his heart that it's not that good.
You've at least talked me down to a D. Dan's got it as an F. And Brick is saying, like, when Al doesn't get a joke, that's a problem.
Here's what saves it from being an F tier, okay? I'm coming at this from the perspective of somebody whose entire life is video games. Like, this is me in my element, okay? I don't know if on other topics, for example, are there bologna manufacturers who listen to my bologna and they just seethe? I don't know. I'm not a bologna manufacturer. I wouldn't know. It's possible that if you know too much about a subject, you can't appreciate an Al parody about that subject. I'm open to that possibility, and for that reason, I can put this song in D tier.
Well, the best parodies are ones that are done by people who know and love the material and ergo know how to rip it apart.
Yeah, it's why he writes so many parodies about like food and bad relationships and having your car towed, because these are things that we all appreciate. Can anybody make a case for placing this above Got a Boogie in the D tier?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't have a plan for signing this out, Dan. That could be the end as far as I'm concerned.
I think that good science was done today. We have conducted objectivity of our opinions.
Would I lie to you? The check in the mail. Would I lie to you?
You've already been demoted to houseplant. I don't know what else I can do to...
I mean, he could be demoted to garden gnome.
Garden gnome is well above houseplant.
Really?
They get to wear hats. They got cool beards.